Hi, I'm Neil Hermes and welcome to my weekly bird wrap. I've got 3 stories for you this week. One about magpies that help one another, a second one about Archaeopteryx, which we all know is an ancient bird, and the third story is about endangered gang-gang cockatoos. Hi, I'm Neil Hermes and welcome to my weekly bird wrap. My first story today is about magpies helping one another. Now, on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland in Australia, there's been a group of researchers who've been trying to find out more about magpies. Now, magpies are common birds in southern Australia and we see them around our homes, around our cities, a bird that's very familiar. But these research scientists want to find out more about magpies and to find out how far they move from their nesting areas, etc. They decided what they would do was put small trackers on the birds. Now, these trackers weigh about 1 gram. They attached them to the bird with a device that required a little harness. And what they did very cleverly is they organised it so when the birds came to a feeder, the tracker would download data each time the bird came to the feeder. So you didn't have to catch the bird again, and the data was able to be collected regularly. Another little trick that they had is when they wanted to, when the bird came to the feeder, the researchers could trigger a little magnet and the harness would drop off, so they could get the tracker back, and then the bird wouldn't have to carry the tracker anymore. So this was a wonderfully designed little project, and the scientists were hoping to get lots of data. They caught 5 birds, they put the trackers on, and let the birds go and watch them come and go. Within 10 minutes, one of the adult females had removed a tracker from one of the young birds, and within a couple of days, all the trackers had been removed from all the adult birds. Now, they're not sure whether it was the same bird that went around and helped them all take this gadget off, or whether they learnt between one another and they shared it around. But even the dominant male, who would normally not allow any sort of close contact like that, had his tracker removed by one of the other magpies. So it doesn't happen very often in the bird world. There's a record in the Seychelles where there's warblers that will assist one another if they get stuck in sticky seeds and will help another bird escape from the sticky substance. But this is one of those rare occasions where altruism in birds appears to be something that we haven't known about and that we'll need to do more research on. What we're not sure is this sort of activity only in very social birds like magpies, or could other birds actually have a similar sort of habit? Fascinating research out of the Sunshine Coast, and yeah, good on those magpies for keeping on the ball with the researchers. My second story today is about Archaeopteryx. Now, we all know from our school textbooks that Archaeopteryx was that ancient feathered creature that was discovered back in the 1860s in a fossil bed and proved that the birds were connected closely to dinosaurs and was an ancient sort of bird form. The Archaeopteryx means ancient wing in Greek. And quite a number of specimens of the Archaeopteryx have now been found, fossil specimens. And we now know a lot more about Archaeopteryx. There's been studies done recently about how they fly. Did they fly, or did they just flap? Were they like a pheasant and they sort of flapped along and sort of used their wings to sort of clamber up on things? What we do know is they had feathers, and of course this makes them a bird. But what may not be known widely is they also have another characteristic which we all know birds have. And Archaeopteryx also has a wishbone, which is that bone at the front of the shoulders that we see in chickens and that people break open to make a wish. Archaeopteryx also had a wishbone, and that distinguishes it as a bird as well. So Archaeopteryx, there's quite a lot being studied about it now. We're now finding even older specimens of birds in Argentina, parts of Mongolia and parts of China. And some of those early connections between dinosaurs and birds, Archaeopteryx being one of them, and these other new fossils, are showing us more and more about how the evolution occurred of birds from dinosaur, 150 million years ago or thereabouts. So interesting new data and research being done on Archaeopteryx. My last story today is about gang-gang cockatoos. Now, this is an Australian cockatoo, a small grey cockatoo. I heard a few of them just now while I was doing this little clip. They're in the trees around me here, and you may hear them in the background. Recently, the Federal Australian Environment Minister declared that gang-gang cockatoos are endangered. Now, this has come as a surprise to some and not unexpected by many, but the researchers, the scientific panel that recommended it to the Minister, have felt that the data collected over the last couple of decades has shown that gang-gang cockatoos have reduced, and they've reduced down from their distribution through to Melbourne and Sydney. And on the edges, there are many fewer gang-gang cockatoos in places like the Blue Mountains or the Dandenong Ranges in Victoria. There seems to be a concentration of them around Canberra, and in Canberra we see them regularly. I saw some only minutes ago here. So it seems unusual that we would have a species that's declared endangered, and yet you can see them regularly in some places. But we do know from history that sometimes birds or other animals can be quite common right up until the point when they become extremely rare and then go extinct. So we're hoping that that's not the case with gang-gangs, that there are factors that we can find out about their habits. And this declaration, of course, means that money will be spent to try and work out exactly what it is that's making gang-gangs rarer in many places and now endangered. And so that we have this beautiful bird, this gorgeous charcoal-coloured, red-crested cockatoo that is so popular in the places where it's still found, and has that wonderful call that we like to describe as a creaky gate or a bottle being opened or whatever. Gang-gang cockatoo is a very popular bird, but sadly now declared endangered, and we do need to make sure we do the work that's necessary to make sure we don't lose this pretty Australian cockatoo. That's all I have time for this week in the wrap. Thanks very much for all your messages that come in about the stories that we do. Send me some requests in for doing stories. I'd love to do stories for people. And don't forget to check out other stories on my YouTube channel and send me any requests in through Ask Neil or check out the rest of my website. Thanks for now and happy birding.